already, man. What's going on, y'all? It's your man Quincy Whetstone, aka Q Stone, and this is another episode of the BeatStreet Podcast. Y'all know what it do, man. How y'all doing out there today, man? Today on the show, I got one of my homies, man, place where I learned a lot of good information from, man, as far as engineering and technology over the years, man. I worked at his studio. I mixed my last 2 albums at his studio, man. Holla at my man. This my man, BIM, KAV Music, man.
Yeah, what it do?
What's going on with it?
Same old same, Stoney, you know.
Yeah, man.
Moving and grooving, baby.
Finally got you here. You're a busy man these days.
Yeah. You know, it's good, man. Better to be busy than bored.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah.
Better to be busy than bored, man. That's what's up, man. What you been up to? What you been busy doing, man?
So, by trade, I'm an electronics technician. So,
Yeah.
just about anything you plug into the wall or you got to apply power to, man, I like fixing things like that.
Yeah.
So, I do a lot of work for the airport and airlines and whatnot right now. But in my personal time, you know, I try and get in the studio and deal with the components, man. Open up some gear and see what I can do with it.
All right, you want to just pull that mic up a little till you kind of, you can put it in and get up in that thing.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, man. So that's cool, man. So let's just break that down first. We're gonna get into the producing side of it, but I just want to know a little bit more about you. So you got a technical background.
Yeah. So, man, as a kid, growing up in my household, we only could listen to anything other than gospel, you know, during the week. So my aunts and uncles, you know, when they would get new gear, you know, I'm a 70s baby, man. So this is when we still had, you know, amplifiers with tubes in them, things of that sort. So when they would upgrade or something would break on it, the volume knob, or they couldn't find anybody to fix it, they'd bring it over to me.
Oh, yeah.
And I just had a knack for it, man. I've been taking stuff apart since I was a kid. Learned a lot from encyclopedias, really. Getting in trouble, not being able to go outside. You can read these books. You can't play games. You can't watch TV, but I learned a lot. So I started taking stuff apart. You see the large green circuit boards, printed circuit boards. I didn't know what all those components did back in the gap. My uncle, you know, funny thing, my first keyboard, he bought me a little small Casio keyboard. And I had it for about 2 days, but I couldn't understand how you got all of the sounds of the piano, the notes and everything. How did you cram all that into this little small thing? So I opened it.
Yeah.
And I turned on variable resistors and everything else, potentiometers. And of course, it didn't sound good after I got it back together. I had spare parts, but I was intrigued. So as I got older, got out of high school, you know, went to HSPVA for art, graduated from there, but that still wasn't what I felt like was my calling. And I went to the Navy for 8 years as an electronics technician, UHF SATCOM. All I worked on was communications gear. Thing about that equipment is I'm dealing with a larger frequency range. You can talk about transmission and what you have going through your equipment. And audio is 20 hertz, 20K. And that's a lot easier, you know, to manage when you talk about solid state components and things like that. So fast forward, I get out. I've had a couple interactions, you know, while I was in the Navy that really made an impact on me. Namely, Scrap and myself, we went out to Atlanta.
And Scrap is
best friend, man. Best friend. We got together in high school, grew up in the same neighborhood. Man, we've been working together for a very, very long time.
Right on.
So yeah, Scrap D, we still doing work together. Him and my man Prodigal. What's up, Prodigal? Anyway, we went out to Atlanta. He came out to my house in Georgia, and we drove out to Uncle B's studio. And, you know, I'm still in the Navy at the time, but we spent about 4 days, 5 nights in the studio. And the work that those boys was doing over there, man, even to this day, and I was just mystified by how he worked the drum machine. And MPC, man, was just crazy. So, man, when I got back to the house, I knew what I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to mess with studio components. I wanted to deal with, EQs, compressors, the cables, and all that kind of stuff. And you pick it up as you go.
Yeah. So you got in from the beginning, from the engineering part of the production. That was kind of you would say you were more of that first producer, second, or what? Yeah, definitely, man. Because what I did, I remember when 102 was Magic 102, and I had the old style tape recorder, cassette recorder that would pop up like an old VCR. You got the push buttons on the front of it. What I did, I took a little 1/8" cable, spliced the ends, and took that into the mic input of that tape recorder. Yeah. The other end of it was the headphones output of a transistor radio. Okay. So while the transistor radio will play music, it would be sending that signal out of the headphone jack. But now it's going into the mic input of the tape recorder, and that's how it would record. Okay. I didn't have the money to get something that was all together, but I figured out how it worked. Didn't sound great because of the gauge of the wire and everything, but you learn that. You learn that later on. So I went from there to reel-to-reels, cutting tape. Back in the Gap, you'd have a lot of guys, especially in the Houston area, with the humidity, leave your cassette tape inside a radio. Yeah. Those rollers get tacky, pull your tape out and eject all your tape inside the car. So I would fix all those. So some of those cassettes they couldn't get anymore. Yeah. So I had my own little process of repairing them, and that's what I did, man. So high school, records, DJing, just kind of messing around. Still didn't really have the drive yet towards the music, but I had other stuff going on at the time. That's what's up. But yeah, I never lost the passion for it, man. When I think when I started to get heavy on it was, when my kids was young, I was at the house, towards the end of my naval career, I really got serious about it, put it's all good. put some money into it, man, and some time and studying and experimenting, a lot of experimenting, man. Yeah. That's what's up, man. So how what are you working on right now? How often do you work in the studio right now? Because I know you're doing other things right now, but how often do you get a chance to work in the studio? I try to get in the studio every week that I'm in town. Yeah. So like I said, I do a lot of traveling coast to coast and whatnot, but when I do get in town, a lot of times my partners can kind of feel it. We kind of keep in close contact. So a lot of times I already have, different things that I need to knock out as soon as I get back to the house. So I just kind of playing around the day job, man, get in there and get stuff done. A lot of the work that I do really doesn't take a whole lot of time. It really just depends on what the job is. But with COVID and shutdown and everything, it's kind of been slow, but I'm starting to see everything pick up a little bit more. Yeah. So, yeah. So you, what you working on? Like when you get in there, you say you just kind of catching up on some stuff. What keeps you going? When you come off the road and you get home, what keeps you motivated to jump back in the studio? Well, I have a routine, man. I have favorite artists that I check on, and sometimes it's I listen to a lot of different kind of music. So when I travel, a lot of times I'm having to jump in a rental car, and I've turned the rental car on before, and it's been on a song, that has me like, oh, what artist is this? I might land in Florida, and it's somebody that's being played locally, but not being played, in Texas on the West Coast. So sometimes I get inspiration from that. Other times it might be, a rhythm that might be in my head, a particular pattern that I'm kind of, I can't get out of my head. So I'll dump that off on the MPC. And from there, the equipment will kind of talk to you, depending on the vibe, you kind of pulling energy from everywhere. And, whenever we collab, a lot of that
as part of it also, just kind of bringing the energy from the rest of the team or whatever inputs I have at that time. Normally I'm partying, so you're going to see it be, unless we're doing something, for the South Side, it's going to be something that's kind of upbeat, that's going to make you bob your head and keep you moving or whatnot, something that you could just put some lyrics over that's, not too complicated.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times that's more or less like the drummer coming out front and center, when you still got the lead performer doing their part. So I try to keep it simple and just be creative, man. It's a lot of stuff that's been done before, but I try to do something different every time I get in there. So that might be blindly picking 3 new records, say, okay, I'm gonna pull these 3 out and I'm gonna use, something off of each one of these records, small as it may be, but just something to add a different character to the music. With the gear, I'm kind of 60-40 in the studio. So the character of Roland's equipment has a certain sound. The instruments have a certain sound. Yamaha, same thing. Chord. When you combine those different sounds, you get a different, a different texture.
So that's how you look at it. You just don't look at it from a musical thing. You look at it from a sonic perspective. Like not definitely. Just the sound, but this instrument has this character.
It imparts something. It might be small, but it imparts a certain character to it. And yes, that to me I think is a lot of times what's missing when you first start, because you expect the plugins to do a lot of the heavy lifting. You think it might be, I might just have a static fader on this entire time and never have to really move this fader with everything else that's going on in the music. So I think that it comes with time and experience that you figure out, this is the missing key, So everything in moderation, unless I'm specifically using something for an effect value. Besides that, man, it's all those small things here and there that all add up to a big thing.
Yeah, man, because you got some gear over there, man. Yeah. You got that. I was asking you earlier because I couldn't find it, that UBK.
Yeah, the Fat Soul.
The Fat Soul.
Yes. So that is a wonderful unit, man. And I gotta say, out of every piece of outboard gear that I've used, it's been my favorite. So my setup at home is basically like a large format console without the large format console. I have the bus compression, and that's what I use that UBK for. Cool thing is, man, is when you add the gain knob to it, just passive, it completely changes that device. You can really use it as 7 independent compressors in one.
Yeah.
From the spank that you would get from some of the real high dollar, large format consoles, the big names, you can really achieve those results by dialing in that threshold. And that's what the knob does for you.
Yeah.
Right out of the box, you don't have that functionality. It's almost like you have presets. But dial it in on the inserts with that gain knob, and you can control the dynamics of each processor, man, and it works great. Yeah. If I wanna slam it and it still sound musical, I can do that.
Yeah.
If I just want to hit it gentle, get a lot of dynamics, in the audio, can do that also. And, along with, drawing a blank on the,
that 2-bus you got, not that.
Yeah. So the 2-bus LT is what I use for my summing.
Yeah.
And, I don't know why I'm at a loss of thinking of what this my front end.
What's your interface? Not your interface, huh?
Yeah, Antelope.
Antelope, yeah.
So I take those 16 outputs. Everything that I have going on inside Pro Tools, to me, I can make that console as small or as large as I want. Those outputs from each one of the tracks, I send to buses. And those buses, some of them I have divided. Some of them are separated in the stereo. Some of them are stereo, and then some of them are mono outputs. So lead vocals, I have 3 separate ones that I use for verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, or 3 different artists. Really, it's 3 different artists is how I use that. Mono drums. Any drum that's typically up the middle, it's always going to go out on a mono output.
So what is it doing?
What this is doing, so this Antelope basically is building my sound stage to where when I send something into the 2-bus LT as mono, it sits right in the middle. If I send something out on stereo, it puts it on the output. So you really have that depth and that separation where you can hear the space in between your left, your center, and your right. And then from there, I have more room, where you talk about levels and then the frequency content. It just get my sound stage just so much bigger.
Yeah.
And with the focal monitors, I'm able to hear everything. So with delays, reverb, panning, mostly delays and reverb, I can pretty much place anything in that sound field that I need.
And that's coming with that's what the Antelope and the 2-bus does, or that's what one of the Antelope help you?
The combination of the two.
Yeah, because that Zen tool opened it up for me from that Focusrite I had, and just the Zen tool. It's like I just started hearing more. It kind of opened it up more space.
Great gear, man.
Yeah,
great gear, and even to this day, we've done so much work. I have a Focusrite, the LS56, that I've used for years.
Yeah.
I really loved having the IO on there, but I didn't. The dynamic range on it wasn't what it was on the Antelope. And initially, it wasn't just the brand, the reliability of the unit, and the features that it had. It was some of the dynamic range, the outputs, the clocking more than anything. It has really been the difference between those two. And USB, it's a USB interface, but you don't get near the latency that I remember with some of the original devices like the inboxes and things like that, where you really had to go in and compensate for a lot. Yeah. And now with Pro Tools, a lot of the HD features that you had to spend so much extra money to get the dedicated cards and DSP, a lot of that is built into the machines because the hardware from RAM, processors, 8 cores, 6 cores, they can just really handle the load. So I think with you take all that combined, you really get some new fantastic stuff, and it's just using the tools that's available for you.
Right on, man. Right on, man. What production are you using? Any VSTs, or what you doing your beats on? MPC, VST? What?
So like we started earlier to talk about, a lot of times if I don't have a sample, like I've purchased a record or I heard something and Shazammed it and was like, I got to get to that as soon as I get back to the studio. If I have a sample, of course, I'm gonna start off with the MPC, whether it's on wax or whether it's something I've pulled off of my phone. I've recorded a sample of it and drop it in the. I use the MPC 5000. When I get a bad name, I love it. I've modded it, completely modded it.
I mean, why did that model get a bad name?
The software that ran on it initially when it was released was not that great.
Okay.
And it turns out there's somebody who did a different version of the software. I forget, it's JJ or something or another. It was a firmware version. version 2, and it fixed a lot of the bugs. Don't get me wrong, it still has bugs.
Okay.
But it's not bugs that you can't work around. It's like, it's almost a character of the unit, you know, say, okay, if I do this, it's going to do this, and you just kind of work around it. But overall, very reliable unit.
I think I wish you had it. You could have been pointing to it while you talking.
Yeah, so the thing is that, and the reason why it's not here is because I was going to get to this other point, is that it's an older piece of gear, so it still has mechanical parts in it that doesn't do well moving it often, right. You know, so I think at some point I'm probably going to change the hard drive out in it to a solid state drive and just kind of get it into the future. But as far as the pads, the functionality of it, it's awesome. And I really, you know, I could take it and bring it into my living room, sit on the stand, and I'm good to go. Plug my headphones into it and get most of my work started there. The other part of it is so I might start off with a sample and then go into building the drums. The drums it's either first or it's my second. And from there, I'll get it started on the MPC, and then I run everything directly into Pro Tools. That's where I'll get 8 bars, depending on if I'm doing a double time track beat, so that I can get higher resolution on, you know, fast snares or effects, whatever have you. But everything else is done in Pro Tools. And I know we had a discussion. We used to talk about, you know, Logic versus Pro Tools. I completely and totally agree that Logic for production is by far superior.
Right.
I prefer Pro Tools for the tools that it has built into it, and not just that, but of how I produce. So I still use outboard gear. I don't use VSTs at all.
Okay.
I still I have a Phantom workstation. I still have the Yamaha Motif sound modules. Yeah. And I still use MIDI. So, and my thing with that is they have software that comes with those devices where not only do you have the tools, the songs not songs, but sounds that are built into it, you can manipulate all of those sounds and change them and make any sound that you want. So for me, it's like, okay, I might be able to get some new feature on a new piece of hardware, or, you know, maybe some updated sounds. But for the most part, I use the Yamaha for realism. Anything that I want to sound like an actual instrument, I'm going to go to the Yamaha. And I like to have 1 or 2 natural sounding instruments in a production. The Roland, on the other hand, does have realistic sounding instruments, but it's more geared towards a dance sound, at least to me.
Yeah.
I think I've probably used an 808 of some sort in that entire drum kit and everything I've done. Probably since starting. Okay. You know. But yeah, I take inputs from everywhere. I might go into the studio and jingle some keys or something just to use as an instrument. Yeah. You know, in a track. So it's just whatever it calls for.
So you an explorer, and that's unique, man, because from time to time I dig in on the synth sometimes, but usually most of the time I'm just trying to find a new synth. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not trying to manipulate it. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then I go on and get in. Let me just see. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, I like that, and I stop. Yeah. Cool. But most of the time I'm just like, well, let me just go download some more presets somewhere. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, but you dig in it. You always, even with the when you're mixing and on the plugins, you dig into the plugins when you're mixing too, not just. But you mix and match.
Yeah. So a lot of times with the plugins, I try to get the constructive part of it done first. Like if I had some type of deficiency in recording the audio and I have to cut something or I have to fix something or whatnot, I try to get that part of it knocked out first. and just have a clean recording. And then from there, I'll go into shaping it, depending on what other frequency content we have in there, just to kind of make sure everything meshes well together. And then we go to the creative part. For me, the creative part is always second, or somewhere towards the middle to last, because I want to get all the technical stuff out of the way first. I think, starting out with my loudest instrument, normally the kick, the bass, depending on if I'm doing a hip hop track, that's likely going to take up the most space in it. So, I start off with getting that to -18. Just like if we were, recording with analog meters, and I mix everything in relationship to that. Found a lot of the plugins, processors, even the outboard gear likes that -18 fed into it. And I fold that back into the mix through the 2-bus LT, the UBK Fatso, and of course the converters and everything, and then back into it. And that's how I have my final stereo mix.
All right, well, man, let's get into some
cool,
some of your tracks, man.
Cool.
Let's get into some of these hot beats. I heard some earlier, y'all, and that I had to tell them to stop because I wanted to be surprised when I heard them. But yeah, man. So what you for the jam? What you gonna jam, man?
So this track here is I did this on the MP, so you get to hear what that sounds like. I did this for my partner Prodigal, and this is one of my earlier tracks that I did. It's funny because I'm looking at it, it's in an MP3 format, which I don't export to at all, simply because of the compression that it does to it. So I'm gonna play this one real quick for you. So the other thing is I typically name these tracks by date.
Okay.
And I'll depending on who it's for, I'll put their initials before it.
Yeah.
And then kind of the type of beat it is, and then what number. So this one is KA Slab 9.
Okay. That's nice, man.
Yeah. So this one, this particular track, man, like I said, I did this one for Prodigal Son, and man, he's got a way with words, man. If you're gonna be hearing some more from him soon.
Okay.
But yeah, exclusively, I've been doing the vast majority of my work for both him and Scrap D.
Okay.
And yeah, you're gonna hear this soon.
Yeah, man.
So I got another one for you. As a matter of fact, we did this particular one. Scrap and Prodigal was over at the spot, I believe, this time when we started this one. But yeah, we have lyrics and everything to this, man. But started off as just a freestyle.
Okay.
We were working on a separate recording, and I had them both in the yo at the same time. And I say, man, let me get a freestyle out of y'all before y'all leave, right? So I'm not gonna play the freestyle, but I'll play the beat and see if you guys like this. We call it Bon Time. love the way that MPC, man.
It do has it. You can hear it. It's subtle, but I know what it is.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. It's more of a natural, raw. I'm trying to explain it, but I just know when I hear it.
So what? Like a combination of swing, delay. Like we talked about earlier, a lot of this gear, it imparts a certain sonic quality in and of itself. And I think a lot of times the 2500 really capitalized on that, that mantra and that belief that there's something about this unit that it just can't miss.
Right.
And for the most part, it doesn't. With any piece of gear, learn it, read the instructions. I mean, that has helped immensely. I've figured out features that some of this gear can do that you'll only find in the manual for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, awesome unit, man. I don't think I ever get rid of it. I did go look for me an MPC-X though.
Yeah.
MPC Live. I was like, man, I got to go check that out.
I'm gonna see which one because I want to see. I want to see how just them sounds coming straight out that thing. I want to A/B it, man, because I can hear it, man.
Yeah. So this last track that I'm gonna play here, this one is KA21. I think I did this from April. But again, man, Scrap came over. We was just kind of vibing on some stuff, man. And there's always that dynamic in the room, that energy. Same thing with Freaks. You know, we get in there, man, and it's just an energy.
Right.
We kind of go to our respective spots. It might be one of us on the drum machine, another one of us on the keyboard.
Yeah.
And then we might switch up.
Yeah.
So this one right here is KA21 April 1.
Okay.
KAV music.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so this particular track, man, is funny because the Mac quit on us that night. It was about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and she had enough and said, "All right, y'all done for the day." So I got back up about 7:30, 8 o'clock that next morning, man, and went back in there and I played it, got everything fired back up, and the flute was the last thing that we did to this. And this particular instrumental is a combination of the MPC, some of those samples you'll notice the in there came from some samples I got from you way back. So what I did, I pitched it, changed the pitch of it, man. I spread it out a little bit, man, to give it some space, man, make it a little bit different. And the Phantom and the motif, I got the strings in there, a couple stabs. But man, that's just a combination of all the different gear.
Yeah, that make you want to rap, man. That be make you want to rap.
Yeah.
It make you want to.
Yeah, and I tell him, man, I try to get out of the way, man, stay in my lane, let the guys that's good at knocking this stuff out, man, do it. Yeah. But man, I might be in the car, man, ride with this on and acting like I can rap, man. Man. If I get that vibe from it, man, I think it's gonna be a lot easier to get some of my partners, to dig it, man. And that's that vibe. As long as I can get that vibe out of the instrumental, man, I think it's gonna be, got a good chance at being successful. So
Yeah, man. So what your how you feeling these days about the industry in the whole, man? Are you excited about where it's going, or what's your how you feel about the industry right now?
Well, so I'm ambivalent, man. I remember being a youngster and, my elders saying, oh man, the music that you listen to ain't this and it ain't that, whatnot. And then I find myself getting to that age bracket where it's like, I don't understand what the younger generation is listening to, but I get it.
Right.
I understand. And, it come a time and a place where you gotta kind of stay in your lane and let the cats that do their thing. So for me, I think the same stuff that's happening now was happening before. I mean, we could talk about, whether folks are lazy in the studio or whether you have folks that just overcook, the work. I think there's always going to be an argument for either one. But ultimately, man, with all the technology and everything out, the platforms, I think the music that you want to listen to, you can find. And if you're exploring, you can find new stuff.
Yeah, right.
So we're not forced to have to listen to it. Music is in everything that we do, whether it's commercials, going to the grocery store, it's a part of life. It sells cars, sells laptops and tablets, or whatnot. So I'm good with it, man. It's just like anything else, you got to find a way to adapt. If that's how you get your bread, you gotta be a good baker. So
yeah, man, that's what. And I'm glad you said something. You can listen to what you want to, because now it ain't just radio.
Yeah,
it's not just radio. It's not just what the majors are putting out. So
Definitely.
If you don't like what's on the radio, if you don't like what's mainstream is playing, you can find whatever you want. Yeah. And you know what? And you saying that really lock that in with me, like, because it's always gonna be bubblegum, whatever you want to call it. It's gonna be whatever you consider that. It's gonna always be music that you don't like, and your taste. Yeah. But it's so much now that you ain't gotta. You can find what you want. So just embrace it all, man, and just like, hey, you jam that, I'ma jam this. And so it's room for artists to still do what they feel is good music, or what they feel is real music.
Certainly,
it's room for it, because people looking for it now.
Yeah,
and I think we get to a stage now, especially more streaming, that people are digging now. Yeah. So if you continue to put out great music or stuff you think is real music, people gonna find it if it's good. And if it's good, they gonna stick with it. They gonna hit follow. They gonna hit save.
That's right.
They gonna add that song to their playlist. And somebody gonna ask them, man, what's that you jamming?
That's right. So I'm old enough to remember Sam Goody, and spending $17, $18 on the album, depending on how many tracks came on it. But there was a time when you couldn't preview music before you paid for it. Right. You had to. It was really a surprise. The whole thing about taking the cellophane off and opening it up and looking at the cover and looking at the album art, that was all an experience. It was a part of it. I also remember a time when there was a lot of guys that would only put 2 or 3 really good songs on an album, and then the rest of it was you bought it.
Yeah.
So those changes have forced artists to adapt. If you're not doing good music, you're not going to be successful.
Right. That's just what it is.
And now you can't just slide something in on the customer, because just about everything is a single. Yeah. And that, again, to me, is still an old way of doing things, because it used to be you couldn't get a deal for an album without a successful single.
Right.
We weren't talking about 4 albums. You'd be talking about an EP, possibly, with a small amount of funding to go for you, and we'll see how that goes, and then we'll talk about an entire album. But now, there's artists out there, every album is a debut album. Right. Every single's a debut single.
Yeah.
And as long as the music is good, Attention spans are a lot shorter than they used to be. You know, we don't get 11-minute renditions. You know? But man, I think it's going in a good place. And if things aren't working out, just like all other markets, the market will fix itself.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a lot of bad product out there, that product will stop being consumed no matter who's pushing it. You know, it's like we don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, we're going in this direction. Hip hop was supposed to fail, right?
Right.
It was supposed to never be successful, but hip hop sells everything.
Yeah.
You know, so I remember that, and I don't want to be one of these guys, you know, 20, 30 years later eating my words like, I told you so. Well, yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So. That's what it is, man. Mm-hmm. Man. Good talking to you, man.
It's been real. It's been real.
Good talking. You're jamming.
Yeah.
You're still jamming.
Appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying, y'all? It's beats out here, man. This is Beat Street, but these producers are way deeper than beats and producing, man. They have producers like on the first episode, man. DJ Overflow say producers are like nerds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us got into it based on the technology.
Yeah.
Something about the technology drew us in. Whether it was a synthesizer, you know, whether it was like a tape recorder or whatever, it just kind of drew us in there, and we was playing with the knobs and the different sounds. And then the music part of it came a little bit later. Like, oh, you know, it's connected all to the music.
That's what that does.
You know, so that's what's up, man. So it's good once again.
Yeah,
it's good talking to you, man. Y'all, I got this shirt on right here. I want to say, it says bullying awareness.
Yeah.
Stop bullying. So by the time this episode comes out, and school probably been started back, and it said hatred stirred up strifes, but love covers over all things.
That's what's up.
Proverbs 10:12, y'all. So y'all, hey, whether it's cyberbullying, whether it's that's pretty much what's going on now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of cyber, but everybody is hard on the internet. You know what I'm saying?
We don't do bullies in Texas.
We don't do bullies in Texas, baby. So already, man, you got one little nugget, word of inspiration, something you want to leave with the audience, somebody out there, man, before you go, man.
Stick with it. Perseverance, man. You know, when you think you know, your legs, your shins and everything, your feet telling you to stop running, you know, take a break, push yourself a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Push yourself a little bit harder. You'll be surprised what you can get out of yourself if you test yourself.
Yeah, that's right on right there, man. That's right on. Already, y'all, it's your man Quincy Whetstone, aka Q Stone. Y'all follow, y'all like, y'all hit the notification button, man. Leave a comment. You can donate, man. All the information is in the comment section, in the information section of this video. So thank y'all for watching. Y'all made it to the end already.
Yeah.